Greetings and blessings, and welcome again to the hotspot. It is the day we do come back to reflect on what was an exciting victory for United, because it was a victory, but not the most mind blowing in terms of the margin. 1-0 it was against Luton, a game where yet again our strikers did not turn up. Rasmus Hoyland did not score in that one. It was rather a fellow Scandinavian in Victor Lindelof who scored the one goal for United, but will take it. Now, this goal might be a small margin, not convincing victory for some, but can you imagine that Eriksen could actually be voted as the best manager of this month? Why? Because Manchester United has won, what is it, 4 of our last 5 games? Interesting, but the manner in which we've won these games is very interesting. Anyhow, hotspot, subscribe. My name is Web. Now, today I'm here to talk about Rasmus Hoyland, give you an update on his injury. I'll give you one as well about Christian Eriksen, but also I want to talk about the setback, specifically on Rasmus Hoyland. How big a setback is this for both club and the player? Hoyland's injury, and we are yet to get a confirmation of how long he's going to be out, but there's a possibility that he could be out for months. So he got a foot injury. I think it was a leg injury that saw him off in the second half together with Christian Eriksen, meaning the two of them are most likely not going to be available for Denmark for their crucial qualifiers that are coming up. Now, if you're a Man United supporter alone, you only care about Man United, you should be smiling, saying, okay, it's good that our players are not going to be available for their national team, because, man, we need them fresh, because we have our struggles. We have our struggles. And, some of you might call it being mean, but yeah, I mean, you've got to be a mean supporter at times, more so if you are one of Man United in times like these, where players are injured for fun. But also, if you're a Denmark and United supporter, both, of course, if you support both sides, then you will have trouble, because it's confusion. He won't be, the two might not be available for Denmark. But let me focus. I won't talk so much on Christian Eriksen, because I think we are just enjoying the surplus of his career. I think his best is way behind him. He's done. But for Hoyland, a 20-year-old, it's a huge setback for him being injured at this time, because you felt that the game against Luton is the one where he was going to come and maybe start off in terms of getting off the mark in the Premier League. I mean, what other opponent than Sheffield United or Luton do you need to score your first goal in the Premier League? He failed against Sheffield, but against Luton, I felt actually he would score. I'm thinking if he had stayed on, maybe it would happen. But then you would ask me who would assist him. That would be the question you would ask me, because, I mean, clearly, Man United does not create enough chances in the English Premier League. We struggle to create even the most minute of chances. Yet, interestingly, in the Champions League, we are scoring goals for fun. Hoyland himself has scored 5 goals in the Premier League. The same player. Now, we should be asking ourselves, he's playing with largely the same players in the Premier League, but Champions League, we are more effective, we create more chances, we are more lethal, but in the Premier League, he's struggling. So it shows you that maybe for two things, he's either not getting enough support, enough feeding, or the defenders in the Premier League, because he plays the Premier League day week in and week out, maybe the defenders there have figured out how to deal with him early and have contained him. But that said, I think for me, this injury for Hoyland is a huge setback first for Manchester United, because whatever we are doing now will only make sense if Hoyland is scoring goals consistently. Whatever we are trying to build with Erik Ten Hag, for me, can only make sense if Hoyland is scoring goals consistently, because we need goals. The biggest problem is we are not creating chances for Hoyland. He's living off scraps, and especially in the Premier League. And you think about, I think he has got about 11 shots in the Premier League in the games he has played. And I can see already comparisons going on with him and some of the most promising strikers we've got in the Premier League, like Darwin Núñez of Liverpool. And I've seen comparisons, I think, from Sky and what have you, between these two, trying to compare Núñez's first season at Liverpool, because it was also, you would see the potential he had, but he struggled to score goals. For Hoyland, I feel like it's a bit different, that Hoyland's potential is clear. It's obvious. Everyone can see. That's why even now that he has not scored a goal in the Premier League, no one is shouting for him, because we know his potential. And we know he has not scored goals not because he can't score, but because he has not been given the assets, the balls to score, because we've seen in the Champions League, whenever he has got the chance, he has buried it. So he's the same player. So the issue is the people assisting him, for me. So this injury could be a bad setback is because, and this is one of the biggest issues that Erik Ten Hag has suffered, the injuries and what they do to you. When you're beginning to build something, build patterns with the player, the chemistry, the correlation, them understanding how you want to win games, and two important players are injured, it changes everything. One player alone can change a lot of things for an entire club. So it changes everything, and you understand how Ten Hag must be feeling now. And this is why you've seen what the stats that are flying around of how Erik Ten Hag is the second fastest manager in the Premier League to get to 50 wins. And it's interesting because I think uh, I think the only man ahead of him is Pep Guardiola. He's second. So in terms of stats, Ten Hag is actually performing well. I think he has got 96 points in his first 50 games. Pep Guardiola is the only one to get more. Guardiola got 112. Then, of course, below there, following him are some of the greatest managers in the Premier League, in Jurgen Klopp and the likes. So those stats are there in terms of Ten Hag and how we win. I think the issue for United now is not about the general. I think those stats are coming out to sort of try and ease the pressure of Ten Hag, because truly, because of the past recent bad performances, Erik Ten Hag has been getting a lot of beating, a lot of stick, understandably, because fans were frustrated and seeing the things going south for him. But no one has reservations about how his abilities as a manager. He has proven in his first season what he can do. But when things start going down, people will forget about what you did in history, the stats you have, and focus on what they see. And you can't blame anyone for getting worried, seeing how United was struggling against Sheffield, against Brentford, were failing to put passes together, conceding 4 goals against Copenhagen, stuff like that. So clearly, United supporters have got every right to question Ten Hag, but they also know for a fact that he's a good manager, and the issues he's facing are perhaps not entirely up to him. But it's a setback now because he has been improving with what he's doing. Hoyland has been playing consistently. He has been trying to pick up the patterns with his teammates, and now he gets injured. Now, remember, we've got so many other crucial injured players in Luke Shaw, in Casemiro. We're playing survival football, to be honest. So, do you want your hottest striker to be getting injured now, even if it's just for 2 games? No, it will kill the rhythm. So, it makes the job for Erik Ten Hag even harder. The game against Luton was a fairly better performance than I think most of the games we played recently. Mason Mount coming off the bench and putting on an energetic performance. You saw some bit of hunger and desire in him, and you love to see it. Then the other setback is for him individually as a player, that if he knows that yes, he will score all these Champions League goals and all, but they are to what end? Certainly, we are not going to win the Champions League. We won't be in the semi-finals probably, unless things turn around, and they can. But we could even stay in the group. So the goals are there, but they are for him to show us that he can score, and he should score goals. That's his job. He's a striker. But in the Premier League, even Hoyland knows in his heart and head of heads that he has got to be scoring goals for people to rate him in the Premier League. If you don't score in the Premier League, people will not rate you. It's the hardest league in the world, and we want you to see our hottest striker scoring goals over the weekend against Arsenal, against Man City, against Chelsea, against Liverpool, against these all opponents in the Premier League, even Luton. So if it has failed entirely, then obviously certain people are not going to be happy. So it is for me another setback for Hoyland, seeing now that he has got then to wait and see how he will fit in when he comes back whenever he's fit. So you think about all that and you think, what is the problem at Man United? Why is it that we make one step forward and so many steps back? Whatever we touch, so almost threatens to turn something, and then it turns into nothing, disappears in ether. There is a whole lot of bad vibe around the club that we don't seem to be getting things right. Luckily, though, is even in our worst, we are able to win games, and that's an important thing, because right now we are just, if Aston Villa win their game in hand, they will be on. I think they've got 22. They will be on 26 points, and they will be four points ahead of us, I think. So we'll be just 4 points off the top four. So even with the struggles we've had in the start of the season, you can imagine if we are just 4 points off the pace, it's not as bad. Probably even the teams ahead of us are not doing so well. And I love it that for me, it seems slowly, though not surely because of the injuries, but slowly we are improving. And I feel like all clubs will have this period, and even Ten Hag knows and decided that. And I feel like Ten Hag is becoming more relaxed now, even in his pressers, that He knows we've struggled, but we can't struggle forever. We can't struggle all throughout the season. We'll pick up slowly. I think the only way for United to go now is up. We are only improving slowly. It could be minute, subtle, insignificant improvements, but when they come consistently, then they will look good on us. It will be seen. So I feel like low key we are turning things around, but the injuries are now to Holand. We could have dealt with injuries to anyone, but to Holand now, we should pray it's not long, because then imagine without Rasmus Holand, who is our closest chance to a goal? Who is his deputy? Remember, I wanted to sign 2 strikers. Now Hoyland is not there. You will see. Anthony Martial came on for him, did nothing, absolutely nothing. And Martial is just there to earn his money. For real, he's talented. We love him, but he has failed to perform at United. So I think his best is, again, not at Old Trafford. Then you think about Marcus Rashford. Do you think he's in the frame? He doesn't love to play as a number 9. Do you think Rashford can be an able deputy? So you think about it and you see how big a setback it is for all of us as a club, but also for the player individually in Rasmus Hoyland. But that said, I do think there is a chance that things could change, that things could turn around. But what do you, and I want to leave this question for you, what could be the exact problem why Rasmus Hoyland is performing in the Champions League but failing in the Premier League, yet he's playing with largely the same players? What could be the problem? What could be the problem? Yes, we know, like I said, he's living up scraps. He's not getting fed enough. I'm thinking, and I've been saying this, if Hoyland were in Man City, he would be having more goals than Haaland, I think. Because I think he's a better complete footballer than Haaland. Haaland is a beast of a finisher. Hoyland is a footballer who can finish. So, who do you think would score more goals? But anyhow, what is the biggest problem United has? The boy is not getting fed enough. But why? Because in the Champions League, he's still scoring goals playing with the same players. They just choose not to feed him in the Premier League, but feed him in the Champions League. It's confusing. That's the funny thing about football. But of course, you and I are here to watch, dissect, analyze, and give our opinions. Give me yours in the comment section. My name is Webb. Subscribe to the Hotspot. I'll catch you later, fam.